The Grand Colosseum of Rakthor had stood for 3,000 cycles, its obsidian walls bearing witness to the greatest warriors the galaxy had ever produced. Commander Jaren stood on the observation deck, his forearms crossed in what his species considered a posture of supreme authority. Below, the trial ground sprawled across 5 kilometers of deadly terrain, gravitational anomalies, energy barriers, predatory drones, and obstacles that had broken the bodies and spirits of countless champions. A human. Jaren's mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among the Vrakthi. The janitor who cleans our waste reclamation units. Eli Mercer stood in the registration chamber, mop still in hand, coveralls stained with industrial solvent. The other competitors, towering krill warriors with exoskeletons like tank armor, lithesome Sanar assassins whose neural speeds operated at superhuman frequencies, even a Gorath berserker whose muscles had been genetically enhanced for a dozen generations, all turned to stare. Registration requires citizenship status. The automated system droned. Species human. Occupation sanitation technician level 3. Warning, human physiology rated inadequate for survival probability, exceeding 0.03%. I'm aware, Eli said quietly, pressing his thumb to the scanner. The laughter started then. It echoed through the chamber, a symphony of derision in 100 alien tongues. The krill warrior nearest him, a decorated champion named Korax, leaned down until his helmet nearly touched Eli's face. Little soft skin, do you comprehend what you've done? The trials have killed warriors twice your size, 10 times your strength. You will die in the first challenge, and we will scrape your remains from the rocks. Eli met his gaze without flinching. Maybe. But I signed up anyway. Commander Jaren watched the opening ceremony from his private box, surrounded by the military elite of 5-star systems. The human janitor looked absurd among the other competitors. No armor, no enhancements, just standard-issue athletic clothing that the Colosseum provided to all participants. The betting pools had already written him off. Most wagers centered on which obstacle would kill him first. The first trial was the gravity maze, a shifting labyrinth where gravitational fields changed without warning. Competitors had to reach the center spire within 2 hours or face disqualification and probable death from the crushing forces that would eventually collapse the entire structure. The signal fired. Warriors exploded into motion. Eli ran. Not the explosive sprint of the enhanced warriors, not the calculated precision of the assassins. He ran with the steady, economical gait of someone who had spent years walking endless corridors, climbing countless stairs, pushing heavy equipment through tight spaces. While others crashed through walls with brute force or calculated optimal paths with computer-enhanced minds, Eli simply moved. When gravity reversed, warriors slammed into ceilings, their momentum betraying them. Eli dropped into a controlled roll, his years of working in zero-G maintenance shafts making the adjustment instinctive. When gravitational waves swept horizontally across the maze, crushing enhanced warriors against walls, Eli bent with the force, using it to slide around corners rather than fighting it head-on. Jaren leaned forward in his seat. How is he still moving? The human reached the central spire 47 minutes into the trial, 11th place overall, ahead of 3 decorated krill champions and a Sanar, who had won the trials twice before. The arena fell silent. The second trial was the endurance gauntlet, a 30-kilometer, run through hostile terrain while carrying a 100-kilogram weight. Most species had to stop, rest, manage their enhanced metabolisms. The human simply settled the weight across his shoulders and started walking, and walking, and walking. His biometrics make no sense, the medical observer reported to Jaren. His heart rate is elevated but stable. His muscles should be tearing themselves apart, but he's maintaining a consistent pace. He's been moving for 3 hours without stopping. Impossible, Jaren growled. Humans are weak. Everyone knows this. But Eli Mercer kept walking, while warriors with bulging muscles collapsed from lactic acid buildup, while enhanced nervous systems overheated from sustained exertion. The human janitor maintained the same plodding pace he'd used for years, pushing cleaning equipment through endless station corridors. His body had been forged not in combat simulators but in the grinding repetition of manual labor, 12-hour shifts, day after day, year after year. He finished 4th. The trials continued over 3 days. The combat simulation, where Eli's complete lack of formal training became an advantage, his movements unpredictable and practical. honed from breaking up drunk fights in station bars. The puzzle nexus, where his ability to fix broken machinery translated into an intuitive understanding of mechanical systems that left computer-enhanced minds baffled. The survival challenge, where everyone else's enhanced senses were overwhelmed by false signals, while Eli simply trusted his basic human instincts, the same ones that had warned him about faulty equipment and dangerous situations for years. By the final trial, Eli Mercer stood in third place overall. Commander Jarin descended to the arena floor personally. The human stood before him, covered in bruises and abrasions, swaying slightly with exhaustion but still upright. Around them, enhanced warriors lay in medical pods, their superior bodies broken by challenges this janitor had somehow survived. "Explain yourself," Jarin demanded. "Humans are weak. Your species has no enhancements, no evolutionary advantages, no genetic superiority. You should be dead 10 times over." Eli looked up at the towering alien commander. When he spoke, his voice was rough with fatigue, but steady. "You're right. We're not the strongest, not the fastest, not the smartest. But you know what humans are? We're stubborn. We're adaptable. And we don't quit." He gestured at the arena around them. "Your warriors trained for this. They optimized for it, but me, I've been preparing my whole life without knowing it. Every floor I mopped, every piece of broken equipment I hauled, every double shift when I was dead on my feet but kept going because the work needed doing, that was my training." He straightened despite the pain. "You built these trials to test warriors, but you forgot something. Sometimes the toughest person in the room isn't the one with the biggest muscles or the fanciest enhancements. Sometimes it's just the one who refuses to stay down." The final trial began at dawn. It was simple in concept. Climb the Tower of Ascension, a kilometer-high spire with obstacles and challenges at every level. By the time Eli reached the halfway point, only 2 competitors remained ahead of him. At the 3-quarter mark, he was alone. When Eli Mercer placed his hand on the victory crystal at the summit, every record in the Colosseum's 3,000-year history shattered. Fastest completion time, fewest failures across all trials, highest aggregate score from a baseline unenhanced competitor. The human janitor had done the impossible. "Commander," Jarin stood in the victory chamber as Eli received the Mark of Champions, a crystalline brand that would mark him as one of the galaxy's elite warriors. The crowd's laughter had transformed into thunderous applause. "What will you do now?" Jarin asked. "With this victory, you could command fleets, lead armies, write your own destiny." Eli looked at the mark on his hand, then smiled. Tired, but genuine. "I think I'll go back to work. Those waste reclamation units won't clean themselves." He paused. "But maybe I'll ask for a raise first." As he walked away, Commander Jarin understood something that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of humanity. They weren't the strongest species or the fastest or the smartest, but they were the ones who would show up, do the work, and never ever quit. And sometimes, that was the most terrifying advantage of all.